What's up, guys, and welcome back to Kylie as your host. And today, joining us on this page story is Linda O'Boyle Zaneski. Linda is an Alzheimer's advocate, Lions leader, and pageant enthusiast. And thank you so much, Linda, for coming on this page story. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. So, I was wondering, how did you, and how and why did you start advocating for Alzheimer's?
So, Alzheimer's disease has affected me both personally and professionally.
Mm.
Personally, I've had family members with Alzheimer's disease, and professionally, I'm a geriatrics nurse and I am a certified dementia care specialist. So, I've seen it both from the perspective of being a family and a caregiver, as being a nurse and leader. Out and I got in touch with the Alzheimer's Association 30 years ago
Ooh.
with them. I started basically just answering phones in the office, and it sort of emerged from there. And then when I started to enter the pageant field and I wanted to be Miss America, they said, "Oh, you need a pageant platform, something you're passionate about." So it was like hands down, super easy that I was going to promote Alzheimer's awareness during my year. So I had an opportunity as Miss Pennsylvania to go to Miss America and promote Alzheimer's awareness and work with Alzheimer's Association. It had
Mm.
me do such awesome appearances all year. I got to do Alzheimer's walks throughout the state of Pennsylvania. I got to go to Washington, D.C. and
Mm.
advocate for more research dollars. So over time, I've done quite a bit with Alzheimer's. And last year, I was actually Mrs. Pennsylvania and I wrote my sixth published book. It was a children's book all about why I do the walk for my grandfather. So all those things are fundraisers, and it helps every year with our that we have in Northeast PA.
That's seriously terrific. I know a few people that would are kind of associated with Alzheimer's Association, and with being a Grey's Anatomy fan, of course, I see tons of Alzheimer's. Of course, learning more about that, and as you kind of said earlier, you were close to the Alzheimer's Association, and what type of work do you guys usually do in the community? And I know you said you went to DC to kind of advocate for that. Like, what type of work do you guys do if nobody is kind of familiar with it?
So the Alzheimer's Association does community outreach. So they'll go out and provide presentations on the disease, professional, police, fire, any school that want the information. They also help with support groups. Support groups are awesome. They're a chance for other caregivers to come together and learn from each other, and really come up with maybe best practices and ways that, maybe if this behavior was happening with their mom, maybe they should try this. So support groups are a big part of it. The biggest thing that I do with the Alzheimer's Association is participate annual walk to end Alzheimer's. It's the largest fundraiser, and it happens in the fall all across America. So in Northeast Pennsylvania, our walk happens to be October 14th at
Mm.
PNC Field in Music. And
Mhm.
we meet there at 9 o'clock in the morning. We register, and at 10 o'clock we get to walk the field in support. But my favorite part of the walk is that all of the captains have their teams there, and you try to raise money. All of the money raised goes towards care, support, and services, as well as research. So I've
Mm.
championed a team ever since our very first walk in 1995 in Luzerne County. We had it at Kirby Park, but we've moved to a bigger venue in Music so we could accommodate more people. And my team this year has already reached grand champion status for fundraising. So
Mm.
I'm really proud of that. And one of my favorite parts of the walk is called the flower garden. And it has all these flowers that you can actually pick. They're like windmills that you could pick, and the color depicts why you're walking. So I'll pick purple because I have someone that I've lost to Alzheimer's. So it's a great way for us to all come together once a
Mm.
year and collectively work towards having the money to support the care and services that are needed. And the Alzheimer's Association coordinates that for us all across the country.
Yeah, that is seriously awesome. Like to do it across the country. I know you said that it happens on October 14th. And like in case people are wondering, like how can people donate, whether it's like for your team or different like organizations that are walking?
Yeah, it's really easy. So you can just go to the website, alz.act.org, allsact.org. And you can click on the walk link. You can put in your zip code and find your nearest walk. If Northeast PA happens to be your walk, you could actually look at the teams and you can put in my name, Linda's Walk to End Alzheimer's, and you can join my team, or you can make a general donation, or you can come that day and walk. There's so much you can do, and every dollar counts towards us finding a cure. Because, from my perspective, my family members had Alzheimer's, and I don't want to be next. I want there to be a cure so that I don't have to put my children through this in, 20 years.
Yeah, that is so true because like with Alzheimer's, like it's such an important matter, and to see like like of course you've been through it as well, but to see like your kids, possibly grandkids, nieces, nephews see you go through that, it's honestly like probably the worst feeling in the world to see someone that you love to go through that. So of course there has to be a cure, and hopefully we can you guys can raise a lot of money to for this cause, and like. How can people kind of get involved or learn more about the Alzheimer's Association?
So they can go right to the Alzheimer's website, which is www.alz.org. And on that website, there are different tabs at the top that you can click if you are a professional, healthcare professional, or if you're a family member. And there's so much information there. Now, we know that there's over 6 million Americans that are suffering and living with Alzheimer's disease.
Mhm.
But we know that for every one person that has the disease, at least 3 family members could be affected. So we're talking a lot of people that need this information. So they can go to www.alz.org.
Okay, perfect. Everyone, please go check it out, please. But what does like your daily life look like as a student, as a state council chair for Pennsylvania Alliance?
So as you know, I've been very involved with advocacy for the Alzheimer's Association, but I love giving back to my community. I am born and raised in Northeast PA,
Mm-hmm.
Pittston area graduate and
Mm-hmm.
Wilkes University graduate, and I still remain here with my family. So it's really important for me to get involved. And one of the organizations that I found just speaks to my heart is the Lions Club.
Mm-hmm.
Lions Clubs International. It is the largest service organization in the world. And pretty much there's a club in every town and city in the world.
Oh,
So
what?
I'm very fortunate to be a member of my club. I'm a Lion for 20 years. And last year I had the opportunity to be elected as the district governor. So I was the governor for all of the Lions clubs in Luzerne County. And I got to visit them all and see all of the great things that these volunteer Lions are doing in their community. But I was actually kind of promoted this year, and starting July 1st of 2023, I became the state council chair for
Mm-hmm.
Lions Clubs International. So now I am in charge of all of the governors in the state of Pennsylvania. So I get to travel now a little bit further and visit all of the districts in the state of Pennsylvania and see what they're doing to really help out their communities. And Lions are the most amazing volunteers there are, because they see a need for something in their community, and then they take care of it. And where there's a need, there's a Lion, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. And I'm enjoying my travels this year, and I get to go to Harrisburg and run and different places in the state, and I get to run the Council of Governors meetings every quarter, and I'll be involved in, of course, setting up our state convention in May.
Ooh, it's good excuse to travel, you know? That's something I love to do, definitely. Like definitely travel every single day or every week, whatever the schedule looks like. But like how has like your schedule kind of been or transition been going for you as a district governor and to now state council chair for Pennsylvania Alliance?
So the biggest issue for me has been scheduling, because
Hmm.
when I was visiting a club in Luzerne County, the furthest I had to drive was about 45 minutes to get to a club in Twin County up past Hazleton. But now as council chair, last weekend I was all the way over in Erie,
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
wow.
on Saturday, and Sunday I was in Lehighton, and this Saturday I was in Philly. So it's just coordinating the schedule because the drive takes a little bit longer to get from one area of the other. But the transition has been very easy. The Lions Clubs International has prepared me for this role, so I know what I need to do. I just have to be really good at coordinating my calendar, and I have had no problem doing that so far.
Yeah, like that's a problem for me as well. Is that like especially with dealing like traveling all over the state like Erie or dealing with things in Luzerne County, it's like you're always traveling, but it's not a bad thing. It's always a good thing. But it's like with me, it's like always the scheduling conflicts that I always get in the way.
Yeah, gas prices and tolls kind of dampen the driving part, but I don't mind at all. And the Lions Clubs International has state and international conventions that allow me to travel. So I was in Boston in June for the international convention, and next year's convention is in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm really hoping I get a chance to go.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Like if you go to Melbourne, Australia, try and look me up. I am literally a big Australia person. So
Mhm.
if you figure out something, just let me know. But how did the Lions Club kind of expand to kind of every town in Northeast PA?
So Lions Clubs were really started as a service organization to do good. So where there's a need in a town, usually people will step up and say, "Oh, how can I help?"
Mhm.
And usually there's a lion in a nearby town that will say, "Oh, you should join the Lions Club. They're always looking for projects." So there are some towns and cities in our area that don't have a club right now,
Mhm.
Pittston being one of them.
Really?
And Pittston Township, Avoca, Larksville, Plymouth, and Edwardsville. They don't have clubs, but we're so lucky that our towns are so
Yeah.
small that usually there's a Lions Club in the next town or city or neighborhood that
Mhm.
can help. But we're always looking for lions. And if anybody's interested in joining their local Lions Club, they can just Google Lions Clubs International, and you could just put in find my club. And again, you put in your zip code, and then they'll send an email to me, and I'll find where they live and where that club is, and I'll connect them, because we're always looking for more members, because the more members we have in these Lions Clubs, the more service we do in the community.
Mhm.
So we want to be in every town. We're not quite there yet, but we really want to be in every town because every town has needs. And with budget cuts, we're able to maybe do a fundraiser to help the police department or the fire department or the
Mhm.
local schools. We do kids site eye screenings in the schools. We collect eyeglasses that are repurposed for underprivileged people that need eyeglasses. We have 5 global causes that we support, including childhood cancer, diabetes, and the environment too. So we're always out there. We're not just fundraising, but we give all that money back to our community.
Mhm.
Yesterday I was at an event, and the Lions were telling me about the scholarships that they gave to seniors graduating from high school, which could help them even just cover the cost of their books for their first semester, or their room and board or food. So we're really making a difference, but I would love to see the expansion into a little bit more towns and a little bit more members, because if we had more members, we could do more service.
Oh, absolutely. Like, how old do you need to be? Is there a specific like age range or limit?
18. But you know what's really cool? I said there wasn't a club in Pittston, but we have a Leo club. A
Oh,
Leo club
really?
is for those under 18. So we
Ooh.
have a very active Leo club at Pittston Area High School. Super proud of this group of kids because these students are out there doing community service, which, as you know, could be very important on a college resume.
Oh,
So
for sure, yeah.
yeah, so these kids are out doing service along with the local Lions Club in DuPont, which is the club I belong to, and they are really making a difference as Leos. And then once they graduate, they can become a lion and just transfer over as a lion. My both of my children were Leos.
Ooh.
Both were actually presidents of their Leo clubs, and now they are lions.
Oh wow. I definitely need to check out that club now. Now I'm kind of like
Mhm.
desperate to join it now. But I know with me, I'm like I love to join everything, which is kind of bad for me though, but on my end.
But
But
it's good because it really helps you in your future because there's a lot of businesses and a lot of people that hire that look not just to see that you had good grades in school and that you were involved in different things at school, but they were looking to see that you're involved in your community. What have you done in your community? These Leos are able to say in an interview, oh, as part of the Pittston area Leo Club, we collected 10,000 eyeglasses that were repurposed for those that needed. Or they were just helping us with another project where they were just packing in Pittston at the food bank, the
mhm.
Weinberg food bank. They were packing boxes of food for the elderly. These are things that we need volunteers to do. And
Mhm.
getting them in at a young age to know that they can make a difference is so important. It's going to help them tremendously in the future. And who knows, it is going to be on their resume. So I always say if there's someone out there that wants to volunteer, find a lion, we'll find you a Leo club.
Like any opportunity to volunteer you can get, it's always good for college or jobs. It's just always ways, whether you're getting paid for it or not, there's always like a lot more pros than cons to getting these service hours. And this, of course, it's helping the community, but it's also good for you in the future.
It is. It's so good to volunteer because believe it or not, you get more out of volunteering than you give. And it just makes you feel
Mm.
good no matter what you do. And it could be as simple as serving at the soup kitchen or collecting eyeglasses or cleaning up the clutter in the streets for environmental projects. There's so many the Lions do. And we try to have fun while we do it too. So we had a
Mhm.
mini golf outing. Fun to play mini golf. I was not very good at it, but we raised $1,000 for childhood cancer that day. Or
Ooh.
we did bowling at Chaco's and we raised money for diabetes. So we try to do things that are fun and engaging that we can bring our family to as well. And it just gets more people to see that, you know what, you can volunteer and you can have fun at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's always like when you're volunteering, it feels like work, but when you're also like tacos or something family friendly, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel like work. It just feels like I'm actually at like a let's say family outing. That's a say. But like how did like your pageant career start at the Tomato Festival years ago? I know you recently posted that like for the Tomato Festival.
Yes, it did. So every year I get to post that picture. So in 1988, I was the Pittston Tomato Festival queen. So I wasn't the queen ago, but I had just been starting my dance teacher thought it would be. I did some local competitions just to build my confidence and being on stage and answering questions and meeting people and speaking. So I wanted to do as many local competitions as I could. And when that opportunity came up, I jumped on it because I thought, oh my goodness, this is like, I was at Pittston area. I graduated in 86. This is great. This is representing my hometown. I lived right up the street in DuPont. So I became queen of the festival. So the Tomato Festival Queen, 1988. And ironically, my daughter was the Little Miss Pittston Tomato
Oh
Festival
wow.
princess years and years later. So that was kind of cool. But but that kind of got me into the pageant world and kind of gave me some more experience. And it's funny, I ended up winning Miss Pennsylvania and going to Atlantic City to compete for Miss America. And what's one of the questions that the judges at Miss America asked me was, what is a tomato festival? And why are you the queen of it? So I got the opportunity to explain a little bit about Pittston being the tomato capital of the world, and they were having this festival. And who knew that this many years later, it's just bigger and bigger and better and better. So
Oh wow.
um, yeah, it's just one of those things on my resume that it just sticks out and people always ask me. But I've done a lot of pageants over the years, but I'll always remember that I was the Tomato Festival queen.
Yeah, like especially saying from the Tomato Festival, like especially with being his hometown of Pittston or Northeast PA, you always say like, oh, Pittston's the tomato capital of the world. They have a festival every single year for like 4 days. You should have come out even from a different state. You should come out, but it gets better and better and grow every single year.
Yes.
And like, how did you kind of like train for all the pageants that you done throughout the years?
So I specifically picked the pageants that I entered, and there's a ton of pageants out there.
Mhm.
Some cost a lot of money, and you might get something out of it, you might not. I was very particular in the pageants that I chose, not only for myself but for my daughter, because my daughter competed as well.
Mhm.
I was obviously looking for a pageant that could showcase my education, my talent, because I danced at David Blight my entire life,
Oh.
and um, and gave me an opportunity to promote some kind of a platform. So the Miss America organization gave me all of that, because you really needed to be able to speak about a platform. You needed good grades. You needed to have a talent. And, I have been at David Blight since I was a little girl, and ended up teaching at the Pittston David Blight studio for all the way through high school and college. So it was just really special for me to pick that system, because it was perfect for me. And yes, I did go on to Miss America. I was a talent winner, and I did win the community service award for my work with the Alzheimer's and our seniors and elderly. So to me, that was really special to be awarded that at a national level. And then of course I came back and wanted to be Mrs. Pennsylvania, since I had gotten married, and today is my 30th wedding
Well,
anniversary. We're
happy
celebrating
anniversary.
30 years today. And I wanted an opportunity to compete again. So after I had my daughter, I signed up and I won Mrs. Pennsylvania, which was pretty cool. Got to go to
Mhm.
Las Vegas, and I was top 15 there. Then I took a break for a while because I had another child, and you get busy, and I really wanted my kids to try everything. So I was that busy mom, and
Mhm.
they did their sports, and she did dance and cheerleading and gymnastics and pageants, and I was always on the run with them. Years
Mhm.
later, um, you know, I decided I wanted to do another pageant, just one more. And I was looking for a Mrs. Pageant that would allow me to promote my Alzheimer's platform. And I found the international pageant system. So I tried that, and it took me a while to win. It wasn't just a hurry up and, enter and win. I had to work really hard for that. And in 2022, I was crowned Mrs. Pennsylvania International. So I got another opportunity to put that crown on my head and advocate for Alzheimer's and talk about the Lions Club as well everywhere I went. And more people seemed to listen to me, because it wasn't just Linda saying these things. It was Mrs. Pennsylvania. So they would see the crown and the sash. And the one day I was walking around the Harrisburg State Capitol building. I was there with the Alzheimer's Association, but I had my crown and banner on, and wherever I went, I was in the elevator, and of course it's a talking point, because how often do you see someone with a crown and banner in the elevator? And I had an
Mhm.
opportunity to tell them why I was there. And when I got off the elevator, I thought, wow, this is great, because if I didn't have this crown and banner on, they wouldn't have asked me why I was there. So
Mhm.
it gave me another opportunity to talk about what was important to me. So pageants for me have been a way to do certain things. Now the whole Miss America organization, that allowed me to pay off my entire undergrad degree from Wilkes University, because
Oh,
that
wow.
was a scholarship program. So I was able to come out of Wilkes University debt free because of the pageant. And then the Mrs. Pennsylvania International pageant, what I gained from that, didn't get scholarship money. Instead, I got the opportunity to use that and to support my platform. So I've used pageants over the years to really help my causes too. But I love teaching. I love coaching and mentoring. So if there's anybody out there that wants to do a pageant, they can find me on Facebook and connect, because I have the Zane School that I mentor and coach other women, and I've had an incredible history of winners across several decades. So I think it's a great opportunity, especially if your child is shy. I thoroughly recommend trying the pageant, because they get an opportunity to make friends with other contestants and have fun, and then get over some fears and develop that self-confidence, because they have to go on stage. They might have to answer a question or model. So I just love them. I think pageants for me has been an important part of my life. and will continue to be involved.
For sure. And like it really shows like no matter how old you are, like it shows like you can do pageants no matter if you're an adult or a teenager, you can like go as long as you want, no matter if after you just had kids. Like no matter what, it's amazing to see how far you've gone even after having kids, which is terrific. But last thing I have for you is like what is one piece of advice for girls artists starting out in the pageant world?
So I'm just going to take it a little further, and it's advice for girls, not just starting out in pageants, but just girls in general, because I love when I have an opportunity to empower young women.
Yeah.
And I get asked to speak a lot, either from the Lions Club or from my pageant days or from work. I work full time for the VA. So I do a lot of speaking, and I love the opportunity to engage with young women and give them the advice that they need to set goals. And in order to achieve those goals, they need to know what their passion is. Because if you have a passion for something, then you're going to know that that's something that you're going to be driven towards achieving. And sometimes it's hard for people to find their passion. So if they just try different things and step out of their comfort zone, and have that courage to do something, they might find that they love it or that they're really good at it. So never be afraid. I love Eleanor Roosevelt's quote, where she says, "Do the thing you think you cannot do." And I've lived by that, because if I'm afraid to do something because I think I can't do it, I'm not even going to try, right?
Yeah.
But if you do the thing that you think you can't do, you can basically face fear and have the courage to push through and do it. And then before you know it, you've done the thing you think you couldn't have done. It's just, I love that. So I usually give that as a piece of advice, to just have courage to step out of your comfort zone and do something that you think that you can't do, because I'm sure that you can, because you can set those goals. And I love young women who have aspirations for many things, whether it's to win a pageant or to go to school, to be a doctor, to be a nurse, to be a lawyer, to walk on the moon. Whatever it is, women can do anything. And, I just love to encourage them and empower them to go for it.
I love that. That's so good advice. Is that like I love that quote that you said about Eleanor Roosevelt. Is that like even though like you're like, oh, what I'm afraid, like I'm gonna be poor about this, like why should I try it? But then you won't know if you like it until you try it. Then that's when you know,
Right.
like, oh, do I like this? Like, do I not? It's like you just sometimes like doubt yourself, saying I'm not good at it. But how do you know until at least you try that thing, whether it's easy or hard? Because who knows, that thing might be your passion for next 40 years of your life, you know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like, like something like so small that you think you probably won't be able to do might be turn out a couple months later to be probably the biggest passion you have. So like
Mhm.
whoever you try, just go for it, because that might be the biggest like best choice you ever made.
Right. You got to step out and give it a try.
For sure. And thank you so much, Linda, for coming on Coty Space Story. I appreciate you so much. You're amazing. I'd love chatting with
Thank
you. And thank you
you.
everyone for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day or evening or whatever you are. And thank you so much, Linda, again for coming on. I love chatting with you.